it's so wonderful to have such a full house and so many familiar faces, but back from journeys and new faces. And so wonderful to be all together. But a few notes to orient you. So we'll be following this Holden evening prayer service fairly closely. And it's a mostly sung service. Tonight our leaders are Janet and Laura. And Laura is a newer face for us. She worked at Holden Village for 2 years and so knows this service by heart. And so I was like, well, you know it better than me. So she'll be one of our other leaders tonight. But there's some responses, even if you don't read music, it's fairly easy. You're generally echoing back to the leader. And then we all join in together at various spots. At the bottom of page 3 is really the beginning of a very special song. And we sing the refrain all together, but as you switch on to page 4, we divide into parts, but not, it's more like an echo. And so one side, and I might be singing with this side today, will be leading part 1. Group 2, this side, will be the echo. And it's the same tune that you sort of sang in that refrain all together, but we're just off kilter enough so that the composer said he was trying to vocally make incense rising, was his imagining of what the sound of incense rising would be. When we get to the bottom of page 6 is where we'll have a faith story, and we've been exploring this Lent. Our theme has been streams in the desert, and how God makes streams in the desert, and sometimes learning our own stories as a faith community or as individuals can help nourish us and remind us of those promises and where God shows up in unexpected places. So some of the stories I've said that we've heard in the last 2 weeks are maybe have been familiar stories of this congregation's early years. Tonight we'll hear from Robin, and will be more personal, maybe stories that you might not have known somebody was carrying. And so the idea is that these intersections with stories or hearing somebody else's story might nourish your own faith and help you in your own faith journey this Lent. Then the one variation from the sort of bulletin, after that faith reflection, you'll hear Robin will share a verse that resonated with her from her experience, and then we'll have a time of silence, and I'll mark it with chimes, and it'll be about 2 minutes of silence, so we just sort of set our papers to the side, and whatever talking with God looks like for you, it doesn't have to mean your eyes are closed. You can look at the candles, you can just sit and think and just have that moment of silence. I'll mark the end of that silence with the chimes, and then we'll flip to the back with page 12, with all my being I wait. As a congregation, we'll sing the refrain, and Janet will sing the verses. After that, we move on to page 8, and from there on, we sort of follow the close of the service. Here, the congregation has a sort of refrain at the end of each prayer petition, and you get to hum the same tune, and the leaders will sing the petitions on top of our humming. So it will all make sense. God delights in our attempts, but that's your brief orientation. And so we'll just take a moment of silence, and we'll begin as our leaders are ready.
Jesus Christ, you are the light of the world.